Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Yunus is online, but it seems Wajhat, he's scared, so he doesn't want to be online. Will he show up? No, I don't think he's going to show up. He was back channeling me, he was trying to withdraw from the debate. So I told him, I was like, Brother Yunus is available, he's here to
Assalamu
demolish you.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. So I told him, Brother Yunus is online. He's ready to destroy you. So let me just show the messages. This coward, Wajhat, he's scared of Brother Yunus. See what he said.
Just really quick, because I just want to say this message really quick. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen, wa Qasim Muhammad wa ala ayatihi tayyibin al-Tahirin, wa la'natu da'im ala da'im al-Jum'in. So Wajhat, he challenged me in the chat. This was like a couple days ago, I think last week maybe. Challenged me in the chat saying, debate me on 459, on Ati'u Allah, obey the Messenger, and those in authority amongst you. So I accepted the debate. I told him, okay, let's do it right now. He said, no, not now. You don't choose a time. I told him tomorrow. Tomorrow came, he didn't come. And then we chose another day. He didn't come. And now we chose this day, and he hasn't showed up. He ran away. Like Brother Muhammad al was going to show you the messages, inshallah. So this guy's a coward. He's an ignorant fool. He's not man enough to come and prove his religion. He makes challenges and then doesn't show up to them. And I told him, Wallahi al-Azim, I'll prove you're a mushrik from this ayah alone. I'll prove that you're a mushrik from this ayah alone. Big challenge, right? So it should be easy for him to disprove me, if that's what he thinks. Sayyid. So, inshallah, if he comes, he's here, inshallah. Wajhat.
It seems he's here, Brother Yunus. So that it will be fair, Akhi, can you just move down and come back to the stage?
Yeah. All right, Wajhat, are you ready to start the debate?
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, go ahead.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Tayyib.
So I believe Wajhat, you're the one that will start. So you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillahi walhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi. We'll start with 459, in which we're discussing today. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu wa atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger and those in authority from among you. Right? Here, the first thing that I want to highlight, right, for everybody is the language. Precisely, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically has chosen the language in every word of the Quran. Here, we know, obey Allah and obey the messenger and in those in authority from among you. How many times is the word obey used here? If you look at this verse closely, you'll notice that the word obey is used twice. It's used with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's used with his Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Those two are the only ones for which there is absolute authority in the Quran. Now, we can keep going and we can see that there are many verses in the Quran in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, obey Allah and obey the messenger, thus telling us that absolute authority belongs only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. We can go to Surah Al Imran, verse number 32, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, obey Allah and the messenger. But if they turn away, then indeed Allah does not like the disbelievers. In the same surah, ayah number 132, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again says, and obey Allah and the messenger, that you obtain mercy. Again, in Surah 4:69, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, all who obey Allah and the messenger are in company of those of whom in the grace of Allah, of the prophets, who teach the sincere lovers of the truth, the witnesses who testify, and the righteous who do good. Ah, what a beautiful fellowship. And the list goes on and on and on. And we can talk about the different verses. that contain obey Allah and obey the messenger, as those two are the only absolute sources that we have in our deen. Anybody else can make a mistake. Anybody else will make a mistake. Anybody else has made a mistake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not granted absolute authority to anybody else but His Rasul. And even to the Rasul, it is delegated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is guiding His messenger throughout the entire implementation, throughout the entire application of the Quran. That is how we know how the Quran is applied to our day-to-day lives. So anyone after Allah and His messenger cannot and is not an absolute authority. Point one. Right? Secondly, if we go to Ibn Abbas, we have narrations from Ibn Abbas in Bukhari, right? Ibn Abbas is telling us that this verse was revealed for Hudayfa ibn Qais. This verse was specifically revealed for Hudayfa ibn Qais, who was a Sahabi, right? First and foremost, that's the first thing that you guys need to know. Secondly, the Shia believe, right, that this verse is giving absolute obedience to the Ulil Amr. If you believe that the Ulil Amr are granted political authority, they're given the head of state position, then 9 of your Imams don't even have that status. They weren't even giving that political leadership. So if you really want to say that your Imams are Ulil Amr, I would think twice about that. Because the second that you say that your Imams are Ulil Amr, the second that this verse shows that your Imams are no longer infallible. We don't even need to go past this verse to know that your Imams are no longer infallible, because 459 is clear in that, right? Then we can go on to the second part of the verse. The second part of the verse tells us, if you differ in anything amongst yourselves, refer it back to Allah and His Messenger. Subhanallah. Refer it back to Allah and His Messenger. You'll notice the Ulil Amr are missing from that. The Ulil Amr are not the ones who have absolute authority. It is only Allah and His Messenger. Once you have this quarrel, and it is true that you may have this quarrel even with an Ulil Amr, it is possible to do so, because obedience to the Ulil Amr is only in righteousness. Now, we can go further on into our hadith.
Thank you, Wajhat. Your 5 minutes are up. So I want to welcome Brother Aziz. I invited him because he's Sunni, so it doesn't seem as if there's only one Shia mode. I asked him to come up. So Aziz, if you want to keep the time, you may go ahead. Yunus has 5 minutes. Wajhat has finished his 5 minutes. Assalamu alaikum, Aziz.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Naam. So do you want to keep the time for Yunus? Can you hear me? Aziz, are you there? Okay. Till Aziz is...
Can you
are
guys
you
hear me?
there, Aziz? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, did you hear my salams and everything?
Yeah, wa alaikum assalam. We heard you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Aziz.
So, do
guys,
you want to...
I can keep the time as long as you both agree, Yunus and Wajahat agree that I can keep the time. I'll do it.
Yes, go ahead, brother Aziz.
Brother Yunus, do you have a problem if Aziz keeps the time?
No problem. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Aziz. Hayyakumullah.
Wa alaikum salam. So it's 5 minutes each?
Yeah, 5 minutes each for as many rounds as possible.
Okay, I'll start once Brother Yunus starts.
طيب. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقول مني في جميع الأشياء قول محمد وآل محمد عليهم السلام. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد والعن أعدائهم أجمعين. Okay. So, Wajhat, the ayah, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. this ayah here specifically, this part specifically, if we go to Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith number 7137, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam does tafsir of the ayah. Wajhat wants to come here and apply his own opinion to the ayah and, oh, I believe this, and this means that, and this is this. No. We take the tafsir from the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam because he is the authority. Sah? So, brothers and sisters, if you look at the hadith that we have pinned on top, it says, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger said, and notice the bab, first of all, this is Kitab al-Ahkam, the judgments of Ahkam, the book of Ahkam, rulings or judgments. And the bab is what? What chapter is this under? What chapter does Bukhari put this under? Bab قول الله تعالى أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. طيب. So this hadith here is going to speak directly about this ayah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has given us the tafsir of it and its meaning. So narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger said, whoever obeys me, obeys Allah, and whoever disobeys me, disobeys Allah. And whoever obeys the ruler I appoint, obeys me, and whoever disobeys him, disobeys me. Khalas, the debate is over. This hadith in itself refutes Wajhat's entire tafsir bil-ra'i, his own opinion of tafsir. Rasulullah said, the ruler he appoints who are Ulil Amr, the one who has the Amir, as the Arabi says, Amiri, وَمَنْ أَطَاعَ أَمِيرِي فَقَدْ أَطَاعَنِي وَمَنْ عَصَى أَمِيرِي فَقَدْ عَصَانِي. So Ulil Amr, Rasulullah says, if you obey them, you have obeyed Rasulullah. If you have disobeyed them, then you have disobeyed Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So our interpretation of this ayah is correct, and we go on by what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa did tafsir of, not what Wajhat, the one who can't even say an Arabic sentence, interprets it as. We also have
I object to the ad
the
hominem.
hadith I just pinned. Don't interrupt. Do not interrupt during my time. Al-Mustadrak ala al-Sahihain, volume 3, page 131, hadith number 4617. عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من أطاعني فقد أطاع الله ومن عصاني فقد عصى الله ومن أطاع عليا فقد أطاعني ومن عصى عليا فقد عصاني. هذا حديث صحيح الإسناد ولم يخرجاه. قال في التلخيص الصحيح. Hadith says, Rasulullah said, and this is narrated from Abi Dharr radiallahu anhu, says, whoever obeys me, طيب, he verily obeys Allah, and whoever disobeys me, he has verily disobeyed Allah, and whoever obeys Ali, he is verily obeying me, and whoever disobeys Ali, he verily disobeys me. Al-Dhahabi and Al-Hakim both say that this hadith is sahih. So now this is very clear that our interpretation of this ayah is correct, and Wajhat's attempt to go against our interpretation is just from his opinion. He has no evidence from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioning or doing tafsir of this ayah that falls within Wajhat's interpretation. Rasulullah says, whoever obeys me, obeys Ali. Rasulullah says, whoever obeys the ruler I appoint, obeys me. And whoever disobeys him, disobeys me. And this is exactly what we say. We say that the obedience to Ulil Amr, the ones in authority, is the same obedience you give to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Allah,
1 minute
this is
remaining.
very clear that obeying the Rasul makes him ma'soom. You obey him unconditionally. And this is what the ayah is saying, and this is what the hadith, the tafsir of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says. I have 1 minute. Yeah, he mentioned, I want to respond to his points, but I don't think I'll have enough time. But yeah, the lack of repeating ati'u, this is يعني proof that this ta'ah here is one of itself. If Allah Azza wa Jalla says ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasula wa ati'u ulil amr, then this would mean that ulil amr has their own obedience. Their obedience is not linked to the Prophet's obedience. So the lack of repetition of ati'u is more appropriate. It wouldn't be more appropriate, to repeat it, because it'll differentiate the obedience to the Prophet if what you're saying was correct. Rather, the absence of repetition here, of repeating ati'u, indicates very clearly to any Arabic speaker that the
Time,
obedience
brother.
is one and the same.
Time's up, brother.
Jazakallah khairan, Aziz.
I just want to clarify before before Brother Wajahat starts his 5 minutes. This is how it's going to go. I'm going to start my timer as soon as you start speaking, any of the speakers, and then I'm going to interrupt you on when you have 1 minute left, just as a reminder, and then I'm going to interrupt you a second time when you run up your time. Go ahead, brother. I'll start the timer as soon as you start.
Okay, so just want to make myself clear here that when we're looking at this verse, obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those in authority from among you. I will challenge my opponent to bring another ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the obedience twice, but there's three subjects. You will not be able to do so. Anywhere else, it's okay for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In typical language, think about it this way. In typical language, you say, obey Allah and the messenger and those in authority from among you. Keep in mind, minkum. Min means from, right? Kum means from among you. Min is also a form of representation. Again, if you say your imams are ulil amr, where is your Mahdi as your representation today? Can you go to your Mahdi in the form of a dispute? You and I disagree on an ayah. Can you consult your Mahdi? No, you cannot. Right? First and foremost. Second thing that we need to keep in mind is the word obedience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear and very intently only put it with Allah and the messenger, letting us know that the authority with the ulil amr is not absolute. It's only in righteousness. Yes, we have to follow the orders of the ulil amr. So as long as it does not go against the Quran and the Sunnah. Now let's go back to the hadith that Yunus posted, right? Obey Allah and obey the messenger and from those in authority among you. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever obeys me obeys Allah, and whoever disobeys me disobeys Allah. And whoever obeys the ruler I appoint obeys me, and whoever disobeys him disobeys me. This hadith, like all the other hadiths from the Sunni hadith corpus, the Shia like to take it out of context. Why? Because it plays to their narrative, which is absolutely false. There's a reason there's only 15% of the entire Muslim Ummah that's following what you're following. This is clear that the obedience of the Ulil Amr is only in righteousness. Now let's go to Sahih Bukhari and see what Imam Ali says in Sahih Bukhari 629. Imam Ali narrated, the Prophet sent a Sariya under the command of a man from the Ansar, and he ordered the soldiers to obey him. At one point, he became angry and said, didn't the Prophet ﷺ order you to obey me? They replied, yes, he did. He said, collect firewood for me. So they collected it. He said, make a fire. When they made it, he said, enter the fire. And they were about to run towards the fire until one of them said, are you going to go into that fire? Why don't you go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam first and ask him if you should enter that fire? And if he commands you to do so, then enter it. So they went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they told him about what had happened. And he said, had you entered the fire, you would have never departed from it. This is found in two Sahih narrations that Rasulullah said obedience is only in righteousness, thus showing us that the ulil amr can indeed give you an order that in fact can go against the Quran and the Sunnah at some point in time. This also tells you that this was a political leader that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had sent on an expedition. So just saying that just that the imams are ulil amr and that's your only leg to stand on to say that they're infallible, well, I would be very careful in making that claim because your entire religion is based on this. And we know we have ijma on these narrations. These narrations are mutawatir. These are from Imam Ali. This is from
1
Ibn
minute.
Abbas. These are from people, your revered figures and my revered figures. So we have nothing that we can argue about. Aziz, sorry, did you tell me my time was up?
No, I said 1 minute. You have 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay. So we can go on and on and on, right? And we can go even into the Shia books to see what the Shia books are saying, right? And what Imam Jafar had said in the Shia books when he was asked, right? So from Sama, from Abi al-Hasan Musa, said, I said to him, alayhi salam, is everything in the book of Allah and the sunnah of his prophet, or do you have a say in it? He, alayhi salam, said, rather, everything is in the book of Allah and the sunnah of the prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Al-Kafi, volume 1, page 62, hadith number 10. Grading by Al-Majlisi. Now you tell me if the scholar of yours that that you hold to high regard, is he telling the truth here or no? That only Allah and His Rasul are the absolute authority. If the Ulil Amr were an absolute authority, you and I should be able to refer to them in the form of a dispute. Well, why are we not able to refer
Time.
to them? Why is it that Allah and His Rasul are the absolute mercy? Jazakallah khairan.
طيب. Brother Aziz, before my time starts, I just want to ask a question to the moderators, inshallah. When
Go
I
ahead, bro.
speak, I'm gonna ask a couple of questions, and inshallah, I'd like you guys during this time to bring up these questions to him so he can answer them, because he just didn't answer a single thing I said. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I'll start now. Like I said, Wajhat, you're just making your own tafsir. You have no istinad. You have the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is literally telling you, whoever obeys the ruler I appoint obeys me, and whoever disobeys him disobeys me. In the tafsir of this ayah, specifically in this ayah, this is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam interpreted this ayah for us. And we take the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't take Wajhat who can't speak a sentence of Arabic. So please respond to that hadith. Question 2, can you bring me a sahih hadith that supports your interpretation for this ayah? Like Rasulullah saying, oh, this ayah, أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم, means only obedience to Allah and His Messenger and not to Ulil Amr. Can you bring evidence like that? Because I brought you evidence that opposes that. But unless you're ajiz to bring that evidence, because that evidence does not exist. We don't want the tafsir of Wajhat again. We want the tafsir of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then he mentioned, I wrote down some of his points. Let me look over them really quick. He says, Shia take it out of context and it's false, and only 15% of the ummah follow what you follow. Following the Ulil Amr is only in righteousness, mashallah. So he's bringing, mashallah, he's trying to change the topic, and he's actually doing a fallacy. He's saying, your first 15% of the ummah only agree with you with this tafsir. That's not our topic. The truth is the truth. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said it. If 1% believed in it and the others disbelieved in it, then that's just how it is. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, do not follow the majority, for surely they'll lead you astray. This is an ayah in the Quran. I don't think this guy has read the Quran. He thinks, he wants to appeal to the majority, which is a fallacy. And he says, follow them is only in righteousness. No, that's not what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith. The hadith is talking about the Amir, the ruler he appoints. The ruler he appoints. If there's a ruler above you, you don't only follow him in righteousness, like his amal, his good deeds. No, you follow him in every command he gives you, because he's an authority over you. He has the same authority as the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because if you disobey him, you disobey the Prophet. And then he brought the hadith of there's one man where the Prophet said, obey him, hadith in Bukhari, where the Prophet tells him to obey him and he ordered them to go into the fire. Again, this is not a ruler that Rasulullah appointed. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not say, if you obey him, if you disobey him, then you have disobeyed me in that hadith. That's not found in that hadith. And that's your hadith, it's not hujjah upon us. But even then, your interpretation of it is incorrect. Rather, you have Rasulullah telling us that if you disobey Ali, then you've disobeyed me. You don't have that same thing for the hadith you brought about that man. The hadith says, like I mentioned earlier, مصدق على الصحيحين من أطاعني فقد أطاع الله ومن عصاني فقد عصى الله ومن أطاع عليا فقد أطاعني ومن عصى عليا فقد عصاني. Very, very clear hadith, and it's sahih, alhamdulillah. He did not respond to it. He diverted to, you're a minority, you're not a majority, this and this and this and that. He brought the thing about Majlisi. Again, how many times do we have to explain to these people that we don't worship scholars? We're not like them, like, Ahmad ibn Hanbal said this, you have to follow it, or if you don't, you're mubtadi'. No, we follow the akhbar of the Rasul and the Quran. This is what we follow. And Al-Majlisi, rahimahullah, funny enough, in the ayah, or in that specific ayah, in Mirat al-Uqul, when he does tasheeh of a hadith of the Imam alayhi salam, mentioning that the Ulil Amr are the ones to be obeyed, he says that this is proof that their obedience is all one. This is in Marat al-Uqul, volume 6, page 76. So you lied upon al-Majlisian when he said, subhanallah. And the hadith he was commenting on is, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger and those in authority from amongst you. Then if you quarrel about anything, refer to Allah, the messenger,
1
and to the
minute.
guardian of the command among you, Ulil Amr. Then he said he can, how can he command for their obedience and then allow the people to dispute with them? This is what Wajhad is saying, right? Rather, he, Allah Azza wa Jalla, said to the commanded ones that He Azza wa Jal said to them, the people obey Allah and obey the messenger and the Ulil Amr, which are the Aim alayhim salam. That's the tafsir of the ayah from our books. What was I going to say? Yeah. Brother Aziz, let him answer my questions. I'll restate them, inshallah. Respond to the hadith in Bukhari where Rasulullah says, whoever obeys the ruler I appoint obeys me, and whoever disobeys him disobeys me. And before that, Rasulullah is saying, whoever obeys me obeys Allah, and whoever disobeys me disobeys Allah. It's clear that this is the tafsir of the ayah that the Rasul is given. So what's your response to that? The hadith in Mustadrak, that's whoever obeys Ali obeys me, and whoever disobeys him disobeys me. What's your response to that? And can you bring a single tafsir from the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, given the same interpretation of this ayah as you are? And stop jumping around to al-Majlisi or you are 15% of the ummah. Like, this is all kalam fadi. This is not
Okay,
on topic.
time's up, brother. Jazakallah khair. Just before we start, Muhammad Rafid, how how are we organizing this debate? Are we going to be discussing, as Brother Yunus mentioned?
So Yunus has asked a question. So I would be enforcing the questions of Yunus to Bayat, and you can enforce the questions of Bayat to Yunus.
Wajhat.
So sorry, the questions of Wajhat to Yunus, and I will endorse the questions of Yunus to Wajhat. So Yunus has asked Wajhat about the hadith in Bukhari where Rasulullah clearly stated that if you obey the Amir he appoints, you have obeyed him. So he needs an answer to that, Wajhat.
Sayyid. Yeah, you said Bayat at first, but I wouldn't be surprised if you also wanted to debate Yunus. I mean, no problem. So, addressing hadith from Al-Bukhari 7317, right, in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that obeying the Amr is obeying me. And I have no problem with that, absolutely. That's a Sahih hadith. That's from Abu Huraira, right? One of the greats. You know he's one of the greats. That's why you take from him. Hence, this is proof. I'm glad the replays are on, that you do take from Abu Huraira. No problem. As do I. Now, what does that hadith mean, right? We know from the context of another hadith that at what extent is the Ulil Amr to be followed. Now, let's go to some other sources, right? From our narrations, from our books, to show you that this obedience is not to be it's not to be taken advantage of. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, who said, obey me so as long as I obey God and his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if I disobey God and his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then I have no right to your obedience.
Wajhat, this is not the question. Sorry, I have to cut you because this is not the question.
The
He's not
question, okay,
asking you
I'll
what.
answer. Listen, give me 1 second. So to answer that hadith,
No.
I
Wait,
did
wait a
answer it.
minute. Wajhat. The question is not what Abu Bakr said. The question is, how do you understand the hadith of the Prophet whereby he said,
I explained
whoever
it
I
2 minutes
appoint,
ago.
whoever... No, listen. Don't bring Abu Bakr's saying here. Abu Bakr's saying will conflict with Rasulullah's
I
saying,
will never
and
conflict
this
with
is not
Rasulullah
even
sallallahu
part
alaihi
of our
wasallam.
discussion.
Abu
It's not
Bakr
part of our
as-Siddiq radiallahu
discussion.
anhu.
So focus on the verse and focus on the saying of the Prophet, which
Yes,
explains the verse. That's the question.
absolutely. So what
And please, Brother Yunus,
I'm
check the
saying,
back channel.
brother, I'm saying that the saying from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say whoever has obeyed the Amr has obeyed him, that's true. But to what extent? You guys always are missing the context. The context is the most important part when trying to understand the Quran and the Sunnah. Without the Quran and the Sunnah, without the context to understand the two, right? You're not going to arrive at a good interpretation. You'll be like the Quranist brothers that are out there, right? You wanna come to your own interpretation and know what this means and what that means, or let's actually see what the context of the hadith is. Like I said to Eunice earlier, nowhere in the context of that hadith does it tell us that the obedience to the Ulil Amr is unconditional. Yes, following them is a command, so then you must follow them. That's a command that's given by Allah, that's given by His Messenger. You have to follow them, right? But nowhere in the context of that hadith do we find that following the Ulil Amr is absolute. That is what I'm saying, and I've already addressed that point. However, we find context from the other hadith to support the exact opposite. Telling us that obedience is only in righteousness, and the ulil amr can indeed misguide you, right? If they truly were to. Now, we have to follow them, so as long as they uphold their salah, right? They have to be Muslim. That's one of the criteria of the ulil amr, right? And they have to be from among you. You can't put a label. You can't say, oh, no, this person is ulil amr because so-and-so said so. They have to be from among you. Who from among you is the ulil amr today? If you believe that it is your imams. And if you believe it is your imams, can you go to your imam and give me one example of a sunnah that your Mahdi has given you today? You won't be able to do so. And I know that. And that's why I asked you this, and you're not able to address it. But let's move on to the second part of it. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq's commentary explicitly tells us that when he was given Khilafat, right, he did not abuse it. And he said, if I do go against the command of Allah and His Rasul, don't agree with me. But you won't believe that, so let's go to a Shia source. Let's go to another source. It has been narrated from Hisham bin al-Hakam that he heard Imam Ja'far that he said, don't accept from us which is according to Quran and Sunnah. This is found in the Shia book, Tanqi al-Makal, volume 1, page 174. This is coming from your own books, from your own Imam, telling you to not obey him unless it is in line with the Quran and the Sunnah. What does that tell you again and again and again? On top of the surah,
Do
on top of every
do
single
you have
hadith
a
that I
link? Do
mentioned,
you have a
this
link to
tells
the
you that the
hadith?
obedience to the ulil amr is
It's
not
okay.
absolute.
It's okay. We
And
don't
I've
need a link.
addressed
We know
every
this
single
hadith.
one
Go
of your
ahead.
points, but my opponent seems to be dancing around each and every single point that I've laid down. It seems like you're not understanding what Imam Ali and Ibn Abbas have been saying. Do you take them as absolute sources for yourself or no?
You have 1 more minute, Wajad.
Sayyid, I didn't know I was getting cut off there. So
No,
just to
no,
make it clear,
I
now,
cut off the time that, alhamdulillah.
no, from Rocket. So that's fine. No problem. Jazakallah
Sorry,
khairan.
is anyone blocking Sayyid Muhammad?
Oh, no one, I've never blocked Sayyid. He's a cool dude.
Aziz, are you blocking him?
I don't
Ask
think so, no.
Eunice. You never know. Eunice may have.
Yunus,
Who? Blocked
Sayyid
who?
Muhammad. Sayyid Muhammad.
No, of course not.
Okay.
So I need that minute back, inshallah, because I was disturbed there. So no problem. Now, just to kind of make things clear, I've proven from a multi-angular perspective that the obedience to the ulil amr is conditional. I brought evidence from the Quran in itself, the linguistic aspect, the latter half of the verse. I've narrated from Ibn Abbas from Bukhari, Imam Ali from Bukhari, Imam Abu Bakr, and I've also brought sources from 2 Shia sources saying to only follow us. So as long as we're in line with the Quran and Sunnah, thus telling us that the ulil amr can indeed make a mistake, and there is nobody that's infallible after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the matters of deen. So I've made it clear you haven't addressed either one of them. I've given you the answer to hadith from Al-Bukhari 7317 and telling you that there is no context from that hadith in itself to tell us that obedience to the ulil amr is absolute. Yet I brought evidence from other hadiths to show the exact opposite, that it is conditional. And I'm not sure if you will accept it, but I do sure hope that you do. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you.
طيب. بسم الله
Okay,
الرحمن الرحيم.
Brother Yunus, are you satisfied with Brother Wajah's answer?
No, it wasn't really an answer, but it's okay.
Which part are you not satisfied with? Because I do want to make it conversational.
Okay, so
that
answer. Okay, so hold on, mute yourself. Let me ask my question, and I want a yes or no answer. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger said, "Whoever obeys me, obeys Allah, and whoever disobeys me, disobeys Allah. And whoever obeys the ruler I appoint, obeys me, and whoever disobeys him, disobeys me." Is this here talking about, in regards to obedience of Allah, the Prophet, and the ruler that the Prophet appoints? Yes or no?
Yes.
طيب. So, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, "The ruler I appoint obeys me. Whoever disobeys him, obeys me, and whoever disobeys him, disobeys me." This hadith is very clear, very clear. That's disobedience to Amir Rasulullah, as the Arabic says, the Amiri, which are Ulil Amr, which are the Khulafa that he appoints, or the people whom Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi appointed. The ta'ah to them is mutlaqa, because if you disobey them, you're disobeying the Rasul. You brought the hadith in Bukhari about the man telling them jump in the fire. The Prophet didn't say, if you disobey him, you disobey me. No. We rather have the Prophet saying that about Ali alayhi salam, which proves his isma alayhi salatu wassalam. He brought a hadith. This is really funny.
So let me address
Watch.
one by one.
No, mute yourself. Mute yourself. This is my time. This is my time. Mute yourself. Mute
You
yourself.
have all the time in the world.
Mute yourself. Moderators, please don't let him interrupt me. So I'd like the time where he interrupted me to be added to my time, inshallah. So he brought the hadith from Hisham ibn al-Hakam, and mashallah, this is what these people love doing. They love lying and they love doing tadlis. Yudallisun ala nas. They love cutting the hadith and not narrating the full hadith in its entirety. So brother, Muhammad Rafal, I sent you the hadith, inshallah, if you could pin it. It says,
Yeah, it's pinned here.
Jazakallah khair. He said, Hisham ibn al-Hakam, the same hadith he brought, right, brothers and sisters? Now watch how this person cut the hadith and tried to deceive everyone. Hisham ibn al-Hakam narrated to me that he heard about Abdullah alayhi salam saying, "Do not accept a narration on our authority except that which is in agreement with the Quran and the Sunnah, or you find for it a corroboration from our past narrations. So fear Allah and do not accept on our authority that which opposes the word of our God, of our Lord, of the exalted, and the Sunnah of our Prophet." This is where he cut off the hadith. Watch this, brothers and sisters. This is where he cut off the hadith so he can deceive everyone. Had he finished the hadith, he would have understood what the Imam alayhi salam was saying. And then he says, "So do not accept on our authority what opposes the Quran, for when we narrate, we only do narrate what is in agreement with the Quran and in agreement with the Sunnah." So the Imam alayhi salam is talking about he's talking about narrations that are fabricated about them that oppose the Quran and the Sunnah. Because after that the Imam says, when we narrate, we only, idat al-hasr, tayyib. This is the tahsir, to only narrating what is in agreement with the Quran and agreement with the Sunnah. So the Imams only narrate what is in agreement with the Quran and the Sunnah. And Wajhat, mashallah, he cut off the hadith because he knows this hadith literally refutes him. طيب.
Yunus, can you give me the link to the hadith, because this is the wrong link.
Yes, akhi, I sent it to you in the back channel. Hadith number 9293. It's in Mu'jam al-Hadith al-Mu'tabara, and Sheikh Asif al-Muhsini says this hadith is Mu'tabar in Mu'jam al-Hadith al-Mu'tabara. So Wajhat literally cut off the hadith. He did tadlis, and so I want him to apologize for not reading the complete narration, trying to deceive the people, inshallah. He keeps arguing the thing about, prove it from Shia books that it means what you said. Okay, this is a hadith in Al-Kafi, volume 1. Hadith goes as, the Imam alayhi salam reads the ayah, and he said, the Imam said, "This was sent from the heavens about Ali ibn Abi Talib and Al-Hasan and Al-Husayn. I then said, people say, why did he not specify Ali and his family by their names in the book of Allah?" And the Imam responds by saying, the Imam said, "The command for prayer came to the Messenger of Allah, but he has not specified the number of rak'ats for them, 3 nor 4. طيب. And then he reads the ayah again. The verse about obedience came. Believers obey God and His Messenger and leaders who possess a divine authority, Ulil Amr. It came to declare that Ali, Al-Hasan, and Al-Husayn were the leaders who possess divine authority. Divine authority. The Messenger of Allah then said about Ali, and whoever I have divine authority over, then Ali has divine authority over him as well. He has also said, I enjoin you to follow the book of Allah and my family, because I have prayed to Allah, the Most Holy, the Most High, not to separate these two from each other until He will make them arrive at Al-Kawthar." The hadith is very long. If you guys want to read it, you can, inshallah. But this is very established, and Al-Majlisi says this hadith is sahih bi sanadihi, and Sheikh Baqir al-Bahbudi says this hadith is sahih. So this is well established in our books. I find it quite funny that this person is trying to divert the topic to our books and try to disprove it from there. He didn't answer the hadith of Rasulullah saying, whoever obeys me obeys Allah, and whoever disobeys me disobeys Allah, and whoever obeys Ali obeys me, and whoever disobeys Ali disobeys me. This hadith is literally the same metin here, except instead of Amiri, instead of the ruler I appoint, Rasulullah says Ali. This is another indication that Ali is the Amir, but this is a different topic again. Again, we oppose the challenge to Wajhat. Now this is like the 4th, 5th time we've asked him, can you bring a single Sahih hadith that agrees with your interpretation? Because I brought you a Sahih hadith from Bukhari that agrees with mine. And how much time do I have left?
Aziz is the timekeeper and he's down. Aziz, please, can you come up?
No issue. I donate the rest of my time to Wajhat because you'll need it. Tfaddal.
No, because I think you've run out of points, and now you're just going in circles, asking the same thing, and that's why you're giving me the time. So let's make it clear, and let's not fabricate anything like a lot of your hadiths are. So let's go to the actual point. Now, what does Imam Majlisi say, right? Or just Majlisi, whatever you want to call him, because he clearly shows us, right, from Al-Kafi, that Imam Ali actually did talk about this verse, and he told us a little bit more about the verse, and he said that Imam Ali actually meant from his interpretation of the verse that since the Ulil Amr is not mentioned at the end of the second part of the verse, right, at the end of that exact verse, obedience to them cannot be absolute. Because think about it. Why is it you haven't been able to substantiate why you're not able to go to the Ulil Amr in the form of a dispute? It is clear, because they can't create a law on their own, because they can't give any guidance from themselves. They can only guide using the Quran and the Sunnah. But there is a possibility for every human being to go outside the line of the Quran and the Sunnah. And that possibility is open for all of Ulil Amr. So again, I don't think that you've thought this clearly, because if you had, you wouldn't say that your Imams are Ulil Amr. This verse clearly destroys the foundation of that belief, first and foremost, right? But if we go to Al-Kafi, we know from it that even you guys are in agreement. It's in the books. It's just whoever comes out from reading those books doesn't do those books justice. And that's why we are here today, and we have this dispute amongst each other today. But like I said again, I addressed your point from Hadith al-Bukhari 7317, right? Nowhere in that hadith, I'm challenging you to bring the context from that hadith. I've been saying so for the past 30 minutes. Bring the context from that hadith that explicitly states, right, that obedience to the Ulil Amr is absolute. There is none. There is no context that exists with that interpretation that you're trying to bring. First and foremost, you're misguiding yourself and everybody that's in the audience, right? Secondly, I brought you evidence from the Quran in itself. I've shown you, right, from a linguistic standpoint, that obedience is absolute only for Allah and His Messenger and not for the Ulil Amr, right? I've also brought you hadith from Bukhari, narrated by Ibn Abbas, telling us that that verse was revealed for Hudayfa ibn Qais, right? Secondly, I brought you a narration from Imam Ali from Bukhari, telling us what that verse is exactly about. And it was also about a man from the Ansar who the Prophet ﷺ sent on an expedition, right? But he got mad at some point and he tried to abuse his authority, in which he is not to be followed. Obedience is only in righteousness, and we have this in two sahihs. I brought that as well. Now, I'm not sure. I brought you a plethora of evidence from both the Quran and the Sunnah, from both the Arabic language in itself, but you are still fixated on the fact that, or on the part that I haven't given evidence for Sahih al-Bukhari 7317. Yunus, the challenge and the onus is on you to bring the context, because I brought context from other hadith to show the exact opposite. So where is the context? If you have the context, pin it so we can all see what the context of that hadith is, and if it is in line with your belief system or not. It's clear cut. The replays are on. I don't have anything else left to say about this ayah. I think we've discussed it ad nauseum at this point, right? I've given you every refutation. This is a multi-annual refutation to the Shia belief that this verse is talking about their imams, right? I wouldn't even say that because it clearly shows that the Ulil are not infallible. So if you do say that this is about your imams, you're essentially saying, with the lack of evidence, that your imams they're not infallible. Simple point. So again, please bring the context. If you don't have the context, then this debate can be over because now you're just going off of what you've heard here and there.
1 minute.
I want to see the context. That's it.
1 minute left.
Okay. I just want to make a quick announcement to the audience. Like, if anyone has questions, please, you can send the questions to me on one condition, that you should type a question for Wajhat and a question for Yunus. So you can send two questions. On top of the question, you can type Yunus and the question, and then Wajhat and the question. So I will ask the debaters to respond. So Yunus, please go ahead.
Yeah, so again, he keeps mentioning that he replied to the hadith in Bukhari, but he actually did not reply to it. He's saying, this does not prove absolute obedience to them, mashallah. So let me ask you a question. Does the Prophet have absolute obedience, yes or no? Unmute yourself and answer yes or no.
The Prophet,
Okay, mute yourself. When I say mute yourself, you mute yourself during my time. Okay, so he says the Prophet has the absolute divine authority and that obedience to him is absolute. The Prophet said, whoever obeys me, which means an absolute obedience, then he has to obey the ruler at points. In the other hadith, he says, whoever obeys me, meaning in absolute obedience, has to obey Ali, because if you disobey Ali or you disobey the ruler you appoint, then you're disobeying the prophets. MashaAllah.
Doesn't say absolute.
Mute yourself.
Don't lie upon the heave.
Why is this guy interrupting? If you interrupt me again, then I just want to make something clear. If you interrupt me again, you forfeited the debate. The debate is over if you interrupt again. You can only talk when I tell you to unmute and answer a question. Again, he keeps bringing the thing about Majlisi. I already showed him in Maratil Uqul where Majlis says that Ulil Amr have absolute divine authority and that the obedience to them is absolute, like the obedience to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I mentioned it earlier. Let me see what else. Oh yeah, he waffled about the hadith in Bukhari of Umar and Abu Bakr and this man who asked him to step in the fire. Again, this has nothing to do with the topic. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say whoever disobeys him disobeys me. So it's not an absolute obedience. It's an obedience and that is conditional. What else? What other points did he bring? Do you guys remember what other points he bring? He brought Muhammad Rafid? Because at this point it's just a Q&A and I'm answering everything he wants. I'm teaching him everything and he's just like not answering anything.
So he was asking you like, where's your imam for you to obey him? So the imam is not around. He asked that.
Yeah. So let me reply. Wajhat, you interrupted again, man. What is your issue? I told you if you interrupt again, you forfeited the debates. Congrats. You forfeited the debate now. Like this guy, man, he just keeps interrupting. He cannot shut his mouth. You can only unmute when I tell you to unmute. This is your last chance. Wallahi al-Azim, this is your last chance. After this, we're going to close the room if you interrupt again. Because this debate was over in the beginning when I brought you the tafsir of the Rasul, and you did not bring a single tafsir from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that agrees with you. You just waffled upon this ayah. And by the way, he says these people, they haven't done the Quran righteous by interpreting it in this way. So he's saying that the Prophet didn't do any righteous when he interpreted this ayah in the same way we do. And he also threw Fakhruddin al-Razi under the bus, because Fakhruddin al-Razi actually says this ayah proves that Ulil Amr are ma'sumin, that they're infallible, and that obedience to them is divine obedience given to them by Allah Azza wa Jal. The thing about al-Mahdi, he says, where is your imam now? How can you give your imam obedience? Well, our imam Ajjallahu Farajahu Sharif, he He gave us the guidance by telling us to refer to the hadiths of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in the most mutawatir hadith that you people have in your books, I live amongst you the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt, and they will not separate, emphasis on the separate, until they meet me at the pond of Kawthar. So who from the Ahlul Bayt do you have with you today that has not separated from the Quran that is living? You don't have anyone. So you're saying that Rasulullah is a liar, wal-'iyadu billah. So answer this question as well. And the hadiths are like mutawatir about anyone who dies without knowing the Imam of their time has died the death of Jahiliyyah. So Wajhat, who is your Imam today? And where is the person from Ahlul Bayt whom the Prophet told us will not separate from the Quran? Unless you want to call Rasul a liar. He interrupted again. Look at this guy. Okay, khalas. Bring him down. Bring him down, Muhammad Rafid. Khalas, the debate is over. I did qasam billah that if he interrupts again, he's forfeited the debate. And I gave him 5 chances, so no one can say, oh, I'm using this as an excuse. 5 chances I gave him.
Yunus, don't swear, because I think he wants to, possibly he doesn't have answers, possibly. So
that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing. He says I'm diverting from the topic, but he brought the topic about where is your Imam today. Subhanallah, these people, they're ignorant fools. Oh, you're changing the topic. And 5 seconds earlier, oh, where's your Imam today? Where's the Mahdi? How do you refer to him? Well, wallahi al-alim, this guy, he has a brain tumor or something. He doesn't understand what he's saying.
Do you mind? Should we ask him? Let him answer your question. You are asking him, where's your Khalifa or Imam today, Wajhat? Where's the Sunni Imam? Without whom you will die the death of Jahiliyyah.
For the topic of the debate, I've discussed.
You said what? Who is your Imam?
Listen. Let's not go outside of the topic of 459.
Why did you go outside? Why did you go outside?
Did not go outside of it. Now
yes, you brought Al-Mahdi, Ajjallah Farajahu Sharif, the one whose dust is better than you and your entire lineage and in your entire khulafa. So why did you change the topic, and then when I respond to it, you get butthurt and don't want to answer the question?
I'm not here
because you don't have an answer. You don't know who your Imam is. You're going to die the death of Jahiliyyah. It's simple.
Your entire deen was on the line for 459, and you couldn't do it justice. I
proved, alhamdulillah, today I proved you're a mushrik because you don't take the interpretation of the Prophet. You give authority to yourself over Allah and the Messenger. A'udhu billah. And this is the shirk that you've committed today.
Are you finished? Because
no, the debate is over. You want to answer my last questions? It's only fair. Answer my last questions. Who is your Imam today? And where is the Imam? Where is the person from Ahlul Bayt who the Prophet said will not separate from the Quran? Where is he today? Is the Prophet lying, or do you have that person from Ahlul Bayt?
Going to different topics. You can't even debate 459.
He says I'm changing the topic, but he was the one who changed it to Al-Mahdi. How are you going to change the topic, and then when I reply to you, you're going to say I'm changing the topic? This is, look at this liar, this mudallis. He lied about the hadith, about the Imam saying whatever contradicts the Quran, do not take it, and he cut off the hadith, and I replied to that, and I annihilated him with it. Wa alayka ya kafir ya mushrik. Alhamdulillah, we proved it's shirk today.
No, Yunus, don't say that, man. Okay, I think the debate is over. Muhammad, if you want to end the room just for the recording.
You can bring some people up. Bring some people up who want to ask questions, inshallah, or have comments before we end.
We can, inshallah.
It's okay with you guys, inshallah.
We can make a follow-up, inshallah. But the debate,
just to make something clear, Yunus did not go outside of the topic. He was the one who mentioned, or he asked the question, where is your Imam? Yunus returned the favor by asking, where is the Sunni Imam that you should give bay'ah to, without whom, if you die the death of Jahiliyyah? So he couldn't answer that, and, well, you saw what happened. So if you have any questions, raise your hand, and inshallah we'll bring you up. If you have any question, please. If not, we may just round up.
Why don't we just...
If you want to come to the stage.
Muhammad, why don't we just end the room now, because that's a debate, so the clip stays, like the recording.
We can
make a follow-up room.
If it's okay with you, brother Aziz, we can just do like a 15-minute Q&A for the audience, and then we can close it. That'll benefit as well for anyone who's watching the room who had these similar questions, inshallah.
All right.
It's up to you guys. You guys are the mods, but that's my request, inshallah.
As you guys want.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for people to raise their hands. So if anyone raises his hand, inshallah, nobody is raising his hand. Oh, I think it's... Oh, sorry. My apologies. Let me open the hand raising. So it's open. Moe is here. Slushy is here.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
Walaikum
rahmatullah. If
salam.
you have any questions, please raise your hand. Hand raising is open to everybody.
والله يا اخي Allah when I say is والله عيب الشوم. The brother is talking like that. والله عيب يا زلمه والله عيب. كافر مشرك your lineage. And the other kid he didn't say nothing. He's giving me
Moe, just a minute, just a minute. I think Aziz commented on that. Do you have any question for the brother? If not,
ما سمعت الشاي يونس يعني انه هذا بلد لا اخلاق من very عيب والله
okay.
عيب.
This is
Thank
the
you,
okay.
thank you.
Okay, so he
No,
says, let me reply to him. Let me reply to him. MashaAllah. So he says that this is no akhlaq. So first of all, your Nasibi friend Wajhat, he's insulted our imams. He's insulted Sayyid Narjis alayhi salam. This person is a Nasibi without any doubts, and I'd assume you'd agree that whoever insults Imam Ali or the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam is a Nasibi. Like you can insult them back, unless you want to say that you should not insult Nawasib.
How has he insulted Imam Ali? Tell us.
Francisco, move
Tell
Francisco
us,
down.
tell us,
Francisco, can we have
Khaif, you
a question
scared
about the
boy.
topic?
Answer me.
The scared one
Khawaf,
was your Khalifa who ran up the mountain, and
Khawaf,
your
you're
follower of
Khawaf.
him today came and he ran up the mountain as well. He ran to like 100 different topics. He went to Al Mahdi, he went to Ali, he went to all these different topics, and he did not answer a single question of mine. MashaAllah. You say I'm
so I
scared,
think,
but the Khalifa who ran up
brother,
the mountain, and his follower ran up the mountain as well. MashaAllah.
brother Yunus, I think we may actually, kind of go off topic because apparently they are raising like off topic questions. So I believe maybe we should end this room in order to preserve what
Brother,
has already been
I had a
mentioned.
question. I'm sorry to cut you off, brother.
Yeah, if maybe Slushy asks his question, then we can end the room. We can
Yeah.
open a follow-up discussion on the debate, and then we
Let's do that.
can.
Let's do that, inshallah. Let's
Yeah.
start our
So
room,
I
inshallah.
think Slushy, would you ask here or you ask in the new room?
Let's do it in
Wherever,
the new room. Let's do the new room, inshallah.
wherever you
Okay.
guys
Okay.
want.
So, inshallah, we'll go to
But
the new room.
before we go, if
Now,
everybody here can make dua for me, inshallah. I'm trying to, inshallah,
now,
find my
inshallah,
fourth
بحق
wife.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I mean,
Your heart's desires on the occasion of Imam Ali's birthday, your hajat, your needs, بحق Muhammad wa ali Muhammad will be fulfilled, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Thanks to Brother Yunus, and well, also even though Wajhat decided to flee, we still thank him for showing up at least, even though he was initially hesitant to appear. He didn't want to appear. So we thank everybody in the audience. Join us in the follow-up room. And then if you have any questions for Brother Yunus, no problem. And if Wajhat still wants to come in to answer your questions, no problem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.